So I get asked often, what's the #1 mistake when it comes to buying a new fragrance? Well, you would think it's the most obvious answer, and it is. It's the most obvious answer. Spending money on a very expensive fragrance without having tried it first. Blind buying. I have a motto I go by here on this channel. I blind buy so you don't have to. And even then, when it comes to the more expensive stuff, even at this is a $150 designer fragrance. This is hundreds of dollars. An experience worth having. I still like to sample first, and I encourage everyone all the time, on a regular basis, pretty much in every video, to sample first. So the most obvious answer is the correct one. The #1 mistake people make is they just say,
I know what I like, I've read some reviews, I watched some reviews, I know what I'm doing, it's my money.
And you know what? You're right. It is your money. You can do what you want. But to save yourself some hassle and potentially save yourself some potential bad blind buys, I always encourage you, sample. Sample first. Some of the ways: get boxed and carted samples from the brands. Buy atomizers. You never know. Could come in handy. You can buy a multitude of sizes. This is actually a 5 ml. You can get 8 mls. You can get 11 mls, 10 mls. And so on. So though this is not sponsored content, I assure you I don't want anybody to get confused with that. I'm going to link down below several different Decant websites that I personally shop with. I don't have any codes or affiliate links or anything like that. It's just there for convenience for you guys. Because when I say that I want to see more people sample first, instead of taking these risky blind buys, don't get me wrong, these are phenomenal. I use 2 phenomenal fragrances for examples in this particular video, but I want to see you guys potentially avoid a risky bad buy, because then what's going to happen is you're going to try to go through the trouble of selling it, swapping it, or you might enjoy it at first and end up not spending more time with it. It sits there and collects the dust as wasted money in your collection, because the best way to go about it is to spend multiple wearings, multiple times smelling it on your skin to see how it's going to react, see what the wearing experience is like. That's the most important thing. And the best part about wearing a fragrance to me personally is how good is the wearing experience. If you're going to live in the sillage, as I like to say, because for so many hours of the day when you're wearing a certain fragrance, that amount of hours that it typically lasts on your skin that you can smell it, is you're going to be living in that sillage. It's constantly there for you to smell and get different reminders of the aroma. So you want to wear something that's very enjoyable to you. Obviously, it's great when somebody smells your fragrance and wants to tell you you smell nice, or ask you what you're wearing because it intrigues them, because it's a pleasing aroma to their senses. That's always wonderful. None of that is guaranteed, but what is a thing you want to guarantee yourself is that you're going to get some joy out of wearing your fragrance. So again, the #1 mistake is the most obvious mistake out there, is not sampling before making a purchase. Short, kind of fun, and to the point. Until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. How many of you have made that mistake to where, you know, most of the time, let's say you feel like you're blind buy bulletproof, and you always have these successful blind buys. Boy, that was a good move, that was a good purchase, but it gets us all at some point where you blind buy, you end up not enjoying it and don't feel like you got your money's worth out of the fragrance, where doing something that obviously not near as fun as the thrill of the blind buy, I understand, and you bought a 3 ml decant and spent a little time with it, it might have saved you from spending the money on that bottle, because that's happened to me a bunch of times where I deemed it not bottle worthy. So for as much blind buying as I do my share of sampling as well, and I encourage you to do the same. And until next time, I will say, I don't have a fragrance specific that we're talking about here to do my usual closeout, but I will say, if you start sampling more and blind buying less, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.